High school football in St. Johns County enters week 3. That's right, we are getting to the halfway point of the season, not too far away after tonight's games. First, we're going to wrap up last week's games, and we had a blockbuster game for the Creekside Knights. We're going to start with them first. 24-21 win over Mandarin, and that's a huge victory if you're a Creekside fan. First win on the road for Creekside in program history. It complements the return of quarterback Kevin Payment, who was out on a one-game suspension. 3 touchdown passes, over 200 yards passing for Kevin Payment. A late field goal from Austin Cannon clinches the win. So Creekside, a big victory in an emotional game. Mandarin had a running back who had passed away a week ago, so they had a big emotional boost in that game. Creekside win there, deflated Mandarin's hopes, and hopefully set the tone for the rest of the season for the Knights. Going in town, St. Augustine 49-7 win over Bartram Trail. That was not even close. Dwayne Brady 3 touchdown runs and a receiving touchdown, 189 total yards for Brady in that game. Moving on to Nice Menendez. Nice 35, Menendez 27. Really turned into a good game from how it began. Nice went up 20-0. Menendez clawed its way back to make it a respectable game late, but just couldn't get it done. 4 touchdown passes from Tyler Weir, 166 rushing yards from Devin Flynn in that one to give Nice a victory over Menendez, and those two teams could meet potentially in the playoffs later in the season. St. Joseph Academy gets on board the Bob Esquerra train. It was Bob Esquerra's first game as coach after taking over 4 days earlier for Jim Herbert, and 56-0 last week against Lake Mary Prep. Scott Jones, 4 touchdowns in that one. He's back on his warpath from a season ago. So Scott Jones, only 1,000-yard rusher in the county last season. It looks like he's found his niche in 2009. Switching over to Ponte Vedra. Ponte Vedra went on the road. They were up at halftime against Episcopal. Could not pull it off. Lost 31-14. So the Sharks, after a 1-0 start, they fall to 1-1. We're going to switch to this week's games. We've got a couple good ones. Menendez at Bartram Trail, a big one for the Falcons and the Bears. Bartram wants to show that they can bounce back after that loss to St. Augustine last week. And Menendez, 0-2. They have not started 0-2 since 2006. Don't want to be staring at an 0-3 hole after tonight. St. Augustine, 2-0, ranked number 1 in the state. They visit Creekside. Creekside coming off that big emotional win last week. These two aren't district rivals, but they are in adjacent districts. So once again, if Creekside gets hot, they could play St. Augustine later in the season as well. So St. Augustine 2-0, Creekside 1-1. 7:30 tonight for the Knights hosting that one. Stanton going to Ponte Vedra. Ponte Vedra looking to get back on the winning path. That's a 7 o'clock kick on that one. Lighthouse Christian visiting St. Joseph Academy. It's 7:30 start. Florida School for the Deaf and the Blind. That's a Saturday afternoon game. And last but not least, Nice hosting Episcopal. Episcopal, the team that knocked out Ponte Vedra last week. So Episcopal looking to make it 2 in a row over county teams. And we're going to go to our new segment, Player of the Week. And once again, Dwayne Brady from St. Augustine High School. A week earlier in the 34-33 win over North Marion, Brady had 360 total all-purpose yards and a couple touchdowns. And in week 2, he did the same. It was just the Dwayne Brady show at St. Augustine High School. 189 total yards, 4 touchdowns. As I mentioned, 3 of those on the ground and a 60-yard touchdown reception. So Dwayne Brady, our Player of the Week for the 2nd week in a row. We'll check back with you next week, week 4 of high school football, recap week 3's games, talk about our Player of the Week, and preview week 4's games.